being able to get across the line. I can't remember who it was against, Clement. I think it was Meta Falcon team, where they actually almost lost. But then it came down to a couple of late team fights, and PSG were like, all right, again, might not be the best, but we managed to rest on our laurels. So for PSG, getting challenged in the early game is going to be the biggest question, considering we know Frank Esports want to play it fast. Mr. Clement Chu, it's always a pleasure to be with you when we have two very different dynamics on the Rift, and we have a bit of an understanding of how these guys want to play out, not just through comps as PSG go topside, but stylistically as well.
Absolutely here, and you know, PSG just doing their usual moves. They always like to do a topside setup for Hanabi.
Oh, knocked up. Oh, YS Cam through the brush, hook shot, wall shot. He's out. Okay, he is out and he has time to back, and that's Ignite from Kaiwing for not much effect apart from a deep ward.
Yeah, so I do expect them to kind of trade sides here with the wards going down, and there's still enough time for PSG to come back here. They're just going to have to do their camps in front of Vision coming in for Frank Esports. Not a huge loss there for YSKM either. Sure, he's going to miss out on a little bit of a level 1, but overall, it's, you know, it's not the worst thing that could potentially happen here. I do think what we're going to see is a lot of ganks going into the bot side. Both of these bottom lanes can be very aggressive early on, and I do want to mention this Alistar, you know, has been sort of those that old-timey counter to the Tahm Kench. Someone tries to Tahm Kench goes in for a devour, and you just knock both of them up. So that is something that we do have to remember, and the reason why this Alistar is most likely.
It's always fun, and it's good hook shot, wall shot here from YSKM. We'll be looking at top a little bit closer because we know that for Frank Esports, this top laner has like 10 solo kills or something at the moment. Insane. As Grass comes up, Hanabi going very aggressive with his own trades. YSKM trying to trade back, and Clement, I'm looking for the level 2 here. I'm not even going to talk about anything else, dude. You know that this is where we should be paying attention. Like, bot might be aggressive, but I want to know what happens with the top side. Kerry's trying to be a champion at level 1, but he won't.
Yeah, not much that the Alistar can actually do right here, so you do expect the push to go the other way. Kaiwing level 2.
Kaiwing. Yeah, Kaiwing is level 2. Lucky he didn't get bopped back near the turret. He goes to the setup, Unified as well, poking them down, getting some free souls. But as they get Miles out of the bottom lane, Bury is going to try and influence top Clement.
Let's see if the hook shot here is up. YSKM actually very far behind, so I don't think it's going to be easy to bait him. They just have to go for the backwards gank here. And, oh, this could be bad for Bury. Oh, he actually got the back.
Oh my god, Hollow now has to run out. He's going to have to flash at this point. Is it too late? No. In the nick of time, as Hanabi's now getting engaged on by YSKM, but he can't do anything. That Summoner out of the jungle forced back with Bury's great timing.
And this Camille's not going to have an easy time in this top lane here. Yeah, he always has to kind of expect the Xin Zhao to play around this spot. And I would say generally in a lot of these matchups, I think Frank Esports, their solo lanes don't really heat up until level 6, especially because their jungle is one that is, you know, typically does fall behind his Xin Zhao a little bit in the early game. So we're probably going to have to wait a while, but Holo is going to come in for a risky counter gank here.
Hanabi jump forward as well, press the skip and splash, wait for a hook shot, wall shot, grasp available, and so is that passive. Hanabi needs to get stunned up, and they get him. YSKM still holding on it. It's going deep here, the ignite down. YSKM with first blood with the hit and run. Bury with no wind to become lightning, and well played from the duo top of Frank.
Very nicely done here. Holo just walks back into the lane, knows that there isn't a flash there for him. And PSG were the ones playing super aggressive in the top lane, so they were able to just thread the needle with a lane gank there. Smart stuff, and you know, that shifts the equations quite a bit here, because you are coming back into lane with a pretty nice advantage for YSKM.
Yeah, Sheen now picked up. Clement, I will say, though, Hanabi still has the ignite, so I wonder if that influences the matchup in any way, considering that YSKM burnt it for the nice fadeaway first blood.
Of course, it does help the Gwen, however little it does. I will say the item advantage is just a little bit too large for YSKM. Just see that trade down there, you know, the tactical swipe going in. And YSKM is bringing the grass, so he can just kind of poke away with the Sheen procs onto Hanabi.
But while we look towards bottom lane, I mean, Frank Esports now confident enough that top set up. Trying to move down here. Hollow is going jungle searching, but Bury's not there for now. Control ward placed down as well to help track, and you can see that this Viego pre-6 is trying to get something done, but as the seismic shove comes through, it's just going to be Hollow helping Pretender, making sure that all-in stops there from Gory.
They're already setting up for a potential dive on the bottom lane here, and they do have Alistar to take up all the damage on the bottom. So I do expect PSG to have to shift the Xin Zhao into the bottom side. They have to guard against this 4v2, and in the meantime, Frank Esports are just going to walk away from the lane, take an easy objective.
Yep, and as you said as well, 6 is coming up soon. Pretender just hit it. So further on to your point, the dive can start coming through, and Gory is his chance to also make some counter punches. And Clement, you said this was a one-track mind competition as Frank Esports now coming to the lane at that angle. Dragon was just taken. This is a bit inexcusable, Mr. Chu, as Eminem gets a kill. Now stunned up, Kaiwing has to back away with his head in his hands.
Yeah, all too easy on that one, and I love that you saw Karis just go in immediately with the flash. Doesn't give Unified a chance to actually flash out of that. I think Unified was thinking, I have to shove this wave. I'm willing to expend a summoner cooldown just to get the wave to shove back. Instead, he gets punished. So, split-second decision here, but huge ramifications for PSG.
And look at the members that are going to be affected, right? YSCam got the first blood. Okay, this wave's going to be caught, and he's still in such a great position. Look at bottom lane as well. Eminem now has a Noon Quiver pickaxe, picked up that kill. Core carries, core damage sources of Frank Esports, Clement, that we talked about, now online well and truly, as this 6-point has been hit, and we're getting closer towards that Herald that could be massive for them too.
And we do have to remember, if PSG do not get a sort of siege situation early on, I don't think they're going to find it later. It's very hard for this composition to actually wrestle away the side lanes. So I think PSG need to win one of these side lanes. They need to trade super hard. That's going to give them their ideal scenario, which is basically sitting mid with the Herald charging at tower. If you get that setup, then there's a lot of chances for you to poke people down, catch people with the seismic shove. If you're too far behind in the side lanes, then that doesn't really happen. So I feel like next plays for PSG, they need to force Bury into a position where he can actually gank one of these side lanes. They can trade side lanes, that's fine, but they need to have at least one side lane that can leave openly to group up mid.
Might end up being bot, because you can see already that Gory is getting the wave shoved out. Vision control now back over to PSG as we partner back up the top side for a little bit as Hanabi puts down the W. And I think at this point, with Gory coming up, I was wrong, Clement. It seems to be on YSCam who's walking back to the lane. As Spider Senses tingling, yes they are, especially with the control ward spotting out Gory.
But like that had less to do with premonitions and more to do with actual vision as we go into the Herald play here. And it looks like Frank Esports are actually trading away here. If I'm Frank Esports, I don't think this is the correct play. If I'm Frank Esports, I much rather... okay, if that happens, then maybe.
Maybe. I mean, Kaiwing is going to get stunned up, flashes away Charm as well, but Kaiwing still a Tarm can't. It's stun after stun after stun after stun, and denial of what Tarm can do as Pretender comes in with the Spirit Rush, and Hollow steals the frog to unclog Unified yet again. Clement, if that does happen though, Frank Esports up with gold tray.
Yeah, I was thinking if I'm Frank, the safer player is just to keep everything rather equal. I don't want any net advantages going over to PSG.
They don't play safe, Clement. They don't play safe, dude. They're an early game team.
I know.
IG vibes, dude. Who cares about safe?
I will say, though, that I think that was a bit of a mistake coming in from Gaiwi. We saw the blast cone go straight up, so he had to expend his flash. Still got caught by Holo coming in afterwards. However, I will say that Hanabi has been doing a really good job in this top lane. The last time we saw him, he was in a bad wave state. He was down CS, but he's been able to equalize very well, and I think he's now actually ahead.
Yeah, he is. Look at the CS difference. I mean, that wave's going to be equalized to some degree, but 20 CS seems to be the lead at the moment. And YSCam continuously getting a position where the wave's pushing against him, Clement. And we know that, all right, Hollow's in the bottom side. They haven't had too much vision until now of Bury. Maybe that gives him a bit more confidence, but we have to see what happens with the jungle play meanwhile.
Yeah, Bury is putting himself in a bit of danger. I could see Pretender actually just coming over the wall for this if he decides to stay. And yeah, Bury is escorted out. I feel like bot lane is way too risky for them. You have potentially Graviton coming in from MNM, and also this is a lane where Frank Esports is winning. So if I'm PSG, I'm not really hard forcing this one. I can be opportunistic, but I think Bury would need to start this off with a successful gank in order to drop Herald bot.
And we know that, you know, with their winning lane at the moment is that top side, right? Like, top looking so good, Mr. Chew. As the good touch and shove, yeah, that's great damage coming back. Pretender just has to run it out. At this point as well, Hollow's going to zone away. It's very 2-2. And Clement, if my stream decides to go a little bit freezy, you know, it might be your time to shine. Play again, if I missed it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you said right there. You sounded very, very robotic, but I am happy to pick up here. I think PSG, they get the TP. You have the Infernal Drake sort of court coming down here, but as you can see, they know that they're behind in this bottom side, so they're actually playing very timid. They actually just straight, I would call this a dry Herald drop just for the gold, and they don't contest anything else, which, you know, I feel like is actually the correct idea here. It's very, very dangerous to go for this one. And let's see if Frank Esports can catch someone out here. Oh, Everfrost does go in.
Well, little play back and forth. Also help connecting for advantage. Now, as I come back and hopefully rely on Australian internet to really carry me down under, I want to point out that we've got, you know, that second Herald coming through in about 2 minutes 45. But more importantly, that the CS leads to PSG are keeping this gold more even than what we would expect with how the early game's gone, right? Like, mid lane's even here in the Talia. Gory has had one Weaver's Wall, which didn't do too much. But Hanabi in topside is just carrying the force. It's unified. Hang on a minute, sir. All right, he's going to get the root, but Hollow all-inning is now going to get a reset. Pretender in here with the Spirit Rush, Orb, a Deception, and a nice charm. Bury now flashed on. Carry's coming in. Look at that angle. And now it's Bury against the wall. All death must be received by Hollow. Frank Esports pushed the go button with YSKM in the meanwhile on the top side. Threatens Hanabi. It's all going right for Frank.
Beautiful stuff coming in from Holo. He gets a lucky encounter against the Senna. He's not trying it. He got spotted. So we did see the question mark kings go down and each side followed out. But beautiful stuff from Holo here. And I do want to talk about the build just a little bit. This is so stat efficient coming in. A lot of people don't know this, but the Chem Chain, the Chem Punk Chain Sword. Yeah, Chain Sword. Oh, that went so hard. Actually, one of the best stat efficient items right here. We have carries going over the turrets for the backline gank. Beautiful stuff. That results in a 2-kill. And I like the way that Holo understood that he could just focus down one target and be absolutely safe. He does have that untarget ability during that ultimate, and then he gets the resets for the rest of the team as well. So willing to go in super deep, knows what tools he's playing with, and comes out clean.
And this is what we know about Frank Esports. Again, the early game, no matter what the comp is, Frank Esports always push the button to go. And against PSG, who we know is a relatively slow team, the PCS actually one of the slowest. Right now, suffering in this early game that's brought action to multiple lanes. Look at the kills, and look at the items now picked up. As PSG move towards bottom side, you can see Frank want to go again. They get Hollow with a stun, but as Gory pokes him down, Kerry's ready to go on in. On top of Fury, stun there, but Eminem's angle could be great. Gets so many shurikens, runs into melee range of Fury, but still doesn't care. Clement, you talked about this, as right now PSG, how do they engage? Everfrost, Spirit Rush, and Charm. They can't run away. They've got no hope here. It's unified as well. It's going to be double kill to Pretender and Kaiwing flashing over the wall. Hollow matching out. Eminem back in range.
Solo kill top.
Frank Esports are 9-0 against our former MSI representatives. And as Bury might be quadra-killed here, all I can say is that Frank Esports are bringing an unleashed change to the PCS.
Look at how much that PSG had to do to just keep away from Frank Esports at that. That was actually a lot of botched engages coming in from the side of Frank Esports. They missed the initial stun from Holo, and then you saw Karys actually have to burn his ultimate early, but it didn't matter. Once they got a single kill, you're going up against the Ari and the Viego, and they can just chase you down regardless. That was Pretender knowing that, hey, you know what? Our backline members that are low health are completely fine. Because PSG actually do not have engaging. They can't rush forward. So it's kind of a one-sided fight here. Look at how many abilities actually do not go well for Frank Esports. And it still is completely okay because they can't chase. They just can't follow up on Eminem and carries. And Pretenders knows that he has that opportunity to go in. Everfrost slightly off, but it doesn't matter. He still gets the first kill, and that gives him all the firepower necessary to then just clean up the rest of the fights. PSG, they have a very narrow win condition. Their composition is only good in one situation, and this is where Camille starts to get online. We were talking about this. It's just a matter of time, but we know that Camille is gonna be there.
Oh, YSCam with another solo kill. What's new? What is new as we look at topside again? Needlework all burnt out but one. Hanabi getting a refresher onto YSKM, but he's still the 2-0 Camille despite the 20 CS lead. And Clement, I think from the last fight, as we prepare for yet another in front of the Dragon, all I can say is Very sets up the one piece of engage, is that now, how does it go from here? Carries the unbreakable wheel with the TP coming through. Pretender now with the ghost. Everfrost, they're dead.
Two-man.
It's not going to work out. A two-man cry with him. Frank Esports still have not dropped a kill. 11-0 against our top team. Frank now with the third Dragon in their eyes too.
Yeah, and there's nothing PSG can do here. Hanabi does not have the TP, so they're not going in just yet. And Polo with the splash!
Reset, going a bit aggressive maybe. Unified stepping up, but they still can't get the first kill. As Gory wants to approach him down, it doesn't matter. Meanwhile, on the top side, Hanabi getting hit hard. Dodges away! YSKM! You should kill me if you could!
And there goes your answer. Maybe that's why Hanabi's not going to the skill matchups, because he is getting outmatched into the top lane. Of course, YSCam already had a solid 2-kill lead with a third one, just icing on top of the cake. This is what I was so afraid about PSG's composition. They don't have winning side lanes, and they don't have engage. It's so hard for them to even capitalize on good team fights. There have been situations where Frank Esports start out the fights quite poorly. PSG cannot punish. Your only win condition is a siege situation, and they're nowhere close right now.
No, Clement, how do you do that? We're watching this again. I mean, YSKM gets blind Fiora, blind Camille from Frank Esports. And let's be real, Clement, even being behind CS, this is what he does with it.
Damn, Hanabi was actually about 40% extra HP over YSKM, and YSKM still wins this. He starts off with a precision protocol that was already charged up. He gets the true damage portion to go in, and then dodges out on the 75% true damage on those Qs to turn the fight around. What an amazing fight from YSKM.
Again, this new player coming through. I mean, for Frank Esports, Clement, we've been talking about him all split long. Comes from IG Young in the LDL. Is someone who brings that, you know, the shy gusto into the team with as well. And Frank Esports don't look like a one-track team anymore, as all elements are coming together. But Frank now going to get engaged on, but Gory now with the wall down. The problem is you're into the fight. As Mr. Chu himself said, what do you do now? Part of your engage down is Hanabi walking in. The flash not working out for Pretender, as at least PSG do get themselves objective control. And Frank have to give away the Herald. So there's one thing for PSG in this game that has given them nothing at all.
So this is PSG's opportunity to strike right here. We talk about that sieging situation. You have the Herald, and you also have to pay attention that Pretender and Eminem do not have their flashes up. So I feel like if there was ever a time for PSG to come back into this game, it's going to start now. There's plenty of bounties. It's just about how this Herald drop actually goes, and also about clearing the side lanes here. YSKM does have his TP. So if he manages to find a backboard, then PSG's siege, I think it's going to end in disaster. So we have to pay close attention. PSG are grouping up mid. Let's see how they clear the vision on both sides here and what angle they decide to use to Weaver Wall.
Let's just start with the vision and how it can be cleared out, right? Because there's not many wards, at the very least, from Frank now. A couple in this river that are popping up, but apart from that, PSG have cleared away about half from the time we started talking. However, with that Baron now up and available, the vision that they have and the denial that they have against PSG has come into favor. A control ward there, but Frank Esports not overstepping. Well, I mean, the camera keeps turning to the bottom lane. You know, right now, they want to see what else Cam can do. Considering that he's having a lot more fun against Hunter with the CS now even. But, Clement, I want to bring you back to where I just was. Because for Frank, not having dropped a kill yet, being up 5,000 gold, and clearing out the rest of the vision in that river. I mean, for PSG, not getting any options in this mid game that we talked about. And you said the scaling is huge. The PSG try to bridge over the mid gap.
This is such a weak Herald drop. I'm very curious about this one because the Herald drop is actually just a bit of a bait. The main thing here for PSG is to be able to find multiple kills underneath the tower with Eminem without having the flash there. You know, you want to use the Herald to draw people there and hopefully find a poke to make a difference on the map. A dry Herald drop like that, to me, it's actually a bit of a waste. I feel like Frank Esports are kind of okay with giving over the objective bounty gold. You know, it doesn't really hurt them. And without the mid lane tower, where do you actually siege? I don't see the side lanes being a good idea here. If you set up in the side lanes, YSCam can just cut you from the back so easily. So, I don't get it. I really don't. I feel like that was a very, very weak Herald decision there. Maybe it was close to the timer, but I feel at the very least you want to draw a couple defenders.
Because coming back to what you said, right, like it's not pure scaling. Like people see Gwen center and go, oh, well, center infinitely scales and Gwen is an insane late game carry. But as you said, Frank Esports won't have anyone to match him in these side lanes. You know, Pretender, YSCam are going to have a field day. Plus, it's a Felios in the core 3, Clement. Like, wave clear bot with 2 members to hard protect him with lots of chain CC lock. Just feels like for Frank still, we're going to keep calling out their praises as we get towards this next dragon. And there's going to be Soul too, Clement. That would make it a nightmare for PSG.
Absolutely. Let's see if PSG can...
Oh my god. Pull the trigger. Is it good? Carry has to get out. Carry's jumping in, but YSCam has found the angle. The Skywing needs to save his 80 carry, but look how annoying this Camille is. Meanwhile, Hollow and Eminem are dying as the Weaver's Wall comes through, but YSCam has taken down the center, as now in a 1v2 he tries to buy time. 2 members of Frank dead, only one of PSG. It's their first kills of the game, and this time, it's a worthy trade as YSCam might be number 3. Looking to take some bodies with him, Clement, and he's not getting out of this one anytime soon. Frank with a crucial mistake here as he runs back in, and that means Soul's gonna be denied.
I gotta say, that was kind of ugly for Frank Esports. Karius goes in and he messes up his Alistar combo. Gets absolutely no one after the Gravitum has already landed, and then the front line is completely open. We see the support use all skills, and that's the go button for Bury. They know that the backline is undefended, and it's just so unfortunate for YSKM because, you know, he's already hit the go button. He has to go in, but Polo and Alistar, they missed their opportunity. So there's absolutely no chance for Aphelios to deal damage right here. They just get cut down, and congratulations to PSG. They actually delay it for 5 more minutes. They have a massive 1,000 gold shutdown. Unfortunately, going over to Bury, they would have preferred it going on to someone else. I'm pretty sure of that. But still, you know, that's a great sigh of relief for them.
Yeah, taking the pressure off this game that was just still looking pretty one-sided as Frank Esports now move up towards Baron with nothing else available. And gold only being 1,000 and a bit. Yeah, that's the greatest concern. Clement, I also wanted to bring up that because of Carries not getting that engaged perfectly, YSCam wasted so much time with the time catch being a pain in the butt. So it feels pretty bad to watch that back, as now for Frank Esports, they're going to give us some kind of sigh of relief and quality control us for the viewers, because after that last fight, I'm not sure where I stand anymore.
I would say Frank Esports still have a bit of a lead right here. I think in terms of compositions, in side lanes, they still have a lot more avenues to make plays. But when it comes down to the 5v5, things are definitely going to be a lot closer. I feel like Frank Esports need to think about how they take these engages. If they don't get a decided lead just in the start of it, then YSCam going into the backline doesn't really change that much. So sure. I feel like Frank Esports, the way they want to play this one is they need to get hold of terrain control, which they should be able to do quite easily since they have all the silent pressure. So you use that, you move it into these face check situations for PSG, and then you just sit. I feel like that's probably a safer way to approach the game compared to the flanking engages over the wall that they messed up last time.
Because last time, right, Tom Kench as a tool, Xin Zhao, Gwen to delay, like, as Frank Esports are doing exactly what you said, side waving control, moving into the skirts of vision, PSG are checking themselves. They're a bit separated at the moment as well. Hollow not pulling the trigger, you can see Pretender walks down. But, Clement, it seems like they are playing the safer way, right? Like, these wards still will be cleared out eventually, as Frank Esports are just relying on Pretender and YSCam to add in that pressure too.
Yeah, and if we look at the 3-man, I would say PSG even have a slight advantage right here because it's so hard to kill their front line. Bury has got that 1,000 gold, we have to remember that one. And on the meantime, Kaiwing also has been picking up CS, so he's very tanky for a support point. I think PSG can hold their own in the 3-man setup. It's about when the side lanes from Frank Esports start to move up. That's where they're going to feel a lot more pressure.
Well, they're collecting themselves now towards mid lane. Hanabi matching as well, but Eminem with his ulti is going to get a lot of poke damage. Unified almost dies. Kaiwing let him go because he thought he'd be fine, but Unified is now an easy one-shot. And Frank might not get the mid lane Tara, but hey, we get to start talking about Eminem yet again as he is starting to whip it out.
Yeah, I can't believe the Collector didn't get some get the collect right there, as Frank Esports now as a 5-man. I think all they need to do right here is they know they have the superior carries. Just make sure that you have a standard engage to the fight. See if you can bait out Hanabi there and just re-engage. The most important thing for Frank Esports is just remember, PSG cannot actually engage. PSG are terrible at sticking to targets with the composition that they have. So if you just take it from front to back and you waste a couple of their abilities, if you have low health people, just rotate them out, actually you should be fine.
Okay. Seems simple enough, but I don't think this game's simple. I don't think for either team this game has been simple. Frank Esports, remember they're the ones moving to Soul here. It's got 40 seconds till that dragon spawns. The TP comes through from Hanabi. This Gwen, who still has 2 items, but now a stopwatch. I want us to compare what Frank Esports are holding right now because they're the ones in River first, Clement, and you can see that YSCam has already started with the join.
Yeah, for Frank Esports, again, just fish for stuns. PSG cannot chase you, so don't overcommit, and there's basically not much that PSG can do to wipe you here.
Well, Carries and Eminem, they hover around mid for now. PSG are keeping their distance as Frank are just brute forcing their way in. It seems waiting for that charm to get a free hit. The Hanabi gets stunned up, the charm goes a little bit early, Bury takes the damage, Hollow targeted on as Bury's ulti sets up the Eminem, has to flush away from the needlework. Hanabi dealing with damages, it's disjointed with YSCam, taking the long way around, but the ultimate is Camille doing so much work. He's shoved backwards, but he's still alive. PSG don't have enough time to work with as YSCam gold in the nick of it. Bury alive for now, but Hollow will clean him up. PSG has been disintegrated, and Frank Esports come alive again.
This is exactly how Frank Esports should play the fight. They fish for these engages, and they wait until PSG can commit. Sure, PSG gets a great needlework from Hanabi, but guess what? Nobody can follow up. This is not a chase down team composition. So they get overextended. YSCam comes in from the back. He is starting to snipe off real targets, and then you see PSG's front line just wandering in no man's land. They just don't have the ability to engage. Really smart, elected team fighting from Frank Esports. I think they learned their lesson from the previous fight. Just watch this. Holo, he's willing to go in super close to the enemy team composition. He's baiting out the fight. Bury actually has a really nice start to MNN. Forces out the flash, but it doesn't matter. Everyone is able to get away, and then it's YSCam's time to shine right here.
That ulti, Clement, everyone was forced back into the face of the Frank Esports.
Yeah.
Like, YSCam, team fighting, that's what we talked about. It ain't just about the side lanes here, about everything else that entails the gameplay. A Hollow as well on a bit of a field day, cleaning up the rest of this, but so good to watch Frank Esports who are taking over what we consider the team fighting kings in previous splits and even this split, right? Frank Esports are coming out of the field, and with now Mountain Soul, Clement, and Baron, if they can close this out, they'll move to 9 wins. And this team is still in an earshot of trying to make top 4.
We have a lot of teams that are rooting for PSG right here. At Frank
Oh, yeah.
Esports, they're already at 6 losses, so it does mean if they drop a little bit more, they could give CFO or DCG, one of these teams, a pass into top 4 here. So let's see if PSG can do it for the J-Team universe. They've got a lot of hopes riding.
Well, they do, but at this point, again, backs against the wall when you consider the gold moved up to 6,000. And even there, more counting. Inhibitor turret getting threatened, close to dying, while PSG are getting moved amongst these side lanes, Clement. It's only 2 for now, but the wave clear out of Frank Esports is just insane.
Absolutely, and we can see Gory's looking for an angle onto that bot side to see if he can get a 5v3 behind Eminem. He's lacking his flash, but oh, Frank Esports just shoved in the door way too fast. The mid lane already open here, and I feel like PSG, they really need to move. If they don't, they're going to lose these 2 inhibs for free here. I don't think that's a position they can come back from. Gory is looking for the angle. He's trying to find the get behind. Here he goes.
Weaver's Wall comes in, but his Pretender carries the only one sectioned off, but the Weaver's Wall won't last long enough as Hanabi goes in, but his team's not on the same page. YSCam as well has that angle, but this Camille, remember, has the Mountain Salt. A route down, but an ulti, Eminem! Oh, the Moonlight Vigil makes heads turn as Frank Esports now has full access to this inhibitor turret in the bot side.
That was a very half-hearted Weaver's Wall. I expected Gory to go in a little bit deeper on that one, but Frank Esports, 3
carries. Yeah, it's a good knockup, but can Frank Esports actually end here? Gory and Unified have the sustain. It's like it comes to Hollow. Meets the ult down. He's dead. Frank Esports in the base. You need to get out of here, but Eminem is dead as well. YSCam averts the seismic shove, but he too is dead. Frank Esports, you had a burger, but you ordered another one before you finished the first.
I feel like Frank Esports, they just won the dunk contest, and then they missed the layup. That was weird, but it definitely makes the game a little bit more exciting. So we'll watch this again. The main thing here is Holo goes down super early. Karius is actually fine. He can walk back from this one, but unfortunately for Holo, I think his engage, to me, didn't make a whole lot of sense, and he actually walks back into the seismic shove to be taken down. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Hanabi gets alone time with Eminem and just cuts him to shreds. So, yeah, that was a weird play from Holo. A little bit too much hero, not enough Holo.
It was weird. Weird's the perfect word, Clement. Frank Esports, that was dicey. Now, the Baron power play in the end, I don't know what we got. I don't know if Baron actually expired by the end of that fight, but it definitely went downhill from what was sitting at 3,500 moments before. Clement, I want to pull out that for PSG, they got that shutdown on the Gwen, who, I know we did talk about side laning threats like Camille and the Ahri being relatively uncontested. However, we still have Hanabi, who is going to be a massive ult bot in these fights, and has the chance to burst people like Eminem, who doesn't have the Tahm Kench health. Even Pretender, if they're able to get something like that seismic shove, is great pixel.
Absolutely here, and I'll say that Frank Esports haven't been all that attentive to their AD carry. I feel like in the 2 team fights that they lost, they kind of just left him to his own devices. Forgot about him. So, you know, once again to the drawing board. How do Frank Esports actually play this one out? I feel like it's actually still very simple. It's, you know, just have Pretender in the front line, have him fish for those engages, have him fish for burst damage, and everyone else can sort of stay behind.
3-man. Oh my god, Eminem's damage insane. I mean, he's the one poking him down. Tries to jump on carry. Won't matter. PSG at least healing up thanks to Unified here, but he's at half HP. Frank Esports still have more in the tank, and look at Holo. Look at the bot wave, Clement. He's just going to threaten Hanabi while PSG have to go back and help.
Yeah, they are going to lose this turret, and you can see Frank Esports are not going to even wait for the minion wave. The next Baron up is in 30 seconds right here, so I think I feel like Frank Esports could have held that wave alive for a little bit longer, but it seems like they're going to go back for another base here. And, you know, we should be taking a look at the items. A couple things to note here. Pretender actually sold his Magi's to get the full buy death cap. That's going to be a very spicy one coming in here. And the other situation we have to pay attention to is PSG actually have a split objective scenario, which is better for the losing team in this type of situation. You know, there's a potential for you to kind of sneak away the Elder and then still mount a successful comeback afterwards. So I think for Frank, the smarter thing is definitely focus on Baron.
Yeah.
You focus on Baron, even if the enemy team steals the Baron, they're not going to wipe you afterwards. So just get the Baron first and force PSG to make the play.
Bori working into it. Hang on, meanwhile, Pretender playing with vision. While they are focusing on the Baron for now, I mean, Burry jumping in, Kerry deflecting, Cam joins in, and he's on Unified yet again. Hextech ultimate dodged everything, and they can't save him. Skywing picks Burry, but that mistake might cost them the game. But Cam taking all the damage.
He's down.
Alive though, he's got the GA, and welcome back to M&M. As Hollow flashes as well, Clement. This might be it. This might be the moment that Frank Esports decide to shut up PSG, the first team in the PCS, and start building on their legacy in the league.
Gory, the last one alive, and there he goes. Frank Esports is going to pick up their first win versus PSG, and this just means that they are now on a whole new level. They're a different caliber of team. They're no longer with the J team universes. They are in a league of their own.